So it turns out the gray water exit point is a little frozen up. And there's one very effective thing that we can do to fix that. I'll show you this wonderful technique. I won't even charge you for this, fellow RVers. This is an amazing technique. You're gonna love it. It goes like this. Hi. My hair. I can't tell. This is probably one of the darker sides of living on a bus. I should preface this, I'm not talking about poop. Thankfully, that's a problem other people have. That's not a problem we have. That said, there is a little bit of gray water involved in this. When you live in a place that looks like this,
I want you to take a look right now at this pile of snow.
You kind of get cold. And when your water line is literally a hose, it gets cold and it sort of freezes a lot. When you have flowing water, stuff doesn't really freeze as often. That's why streams and rivers and even like moving bodies of water in any degree tend to freeze at lower temperatures. I don't know, something kinetic energy, whatever. Science. The issue with our system is that if our hose stops flowing water, which happens when it gets below 28 degrees or so, then what are you doing? Everything on the bus freezes. Everything. The water, the kitchen sink, the tub, and worse, the gray water tank. I've had to deal with the gray water tank before, freezing over, and I literally took a stick, this one right here, usually used for marshmallows, and I had to poke it into a hole to try and thaw this 3-inch block of solid ice. We don't have a good track record with keeping our water flowing when it gets this cold, and I wish there was a way to solve it. I'm all ears if you have suggestions. Also, we didn't ever plan on living in a cold place. We really didn't. Hood River, Oregon, where we're at right now, is not supposed to be cold. It was supposed to be like 40s minimum. So I'm going to try and show off a little bit of the intricacies of dealing with this frozen water system, and what kind of steps I have to go through in order to make this working again. Okay, so we have, safe to say we have running water. Now we need to check whether the bus is still frozen over. So this goes to our hot water heater, and this is frozen.
Ate ice. That goes to ice.
Yeah, what you said. And this one was frozen and is thawing out a little bit, hence the drip. But still frozen. So everything in these PEX lines is pretty frozen, but I think I can unfreeze it. This is my gray water line, and I think that that's unfrozen from what I can tell, which is really good because that means my gray water is going to empty, hopefully. This is my water in. Focus, focus. There we go. And I can twist it and shut it on and off. So, unfrozen. This is my water filter. And unfrozen for the most part. So I'm gonna leave that off for a few minutes to see if this line is thawed out enough to let water pass through it. Okay, fire in the hole. It's working. I'm gonna let it blow out a bunch of ice. Okay, we're gonna try and hook the rest of it up. Next step is we're gonna see if it comes out of here, because this feeds directly into all of my cold water that goes to the faucets, and this feeds into my hot water heater. So because it's cold water, it should shoot out all the same. Ready, Carter? Can I shoot this at your face?
Yeah.
Here we go. Nope, wrong one. Go, go, go. Ha ha! No, 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 don't do it. There's something shooting out. Carter, please don't lick it. You're getting soaked.
I just want to drink it.
No. All right, so turning that on means that my faucets inside the house should be running, so let's go check.
Yeah, look.
Careful there. So there's the water faucet right there, and it's not running. And that's because, like a goon, I turned it off before I came in here. So now I gotta turn it back on, come back in and check. Let's try this again. All right, it's barely on. But there it is. I got running water. Yeah, let's go. So we're gonna run it through the red line, which is the hot water line. We're gonna connect this up and see if it'll go. I think it will. Okay, we'll do an audio test first. We'll listen and see if it sounds like it's moving water through there. There it is. So that's the sound of what would be the hot water, but the cold water running through that red line.
Water.
Thanks, Carter. All the way up into the tub where we had it turned on to the hot water, running through that line right there, the white one, which is it's the sewer line, or the gray water line in our case. And there's Carter. So that means that the hot water line isn't plugged up like we thought it was at the tub. Now we're gonna hook it up to our hot water heater and see if we can send some hot water through the line. Our hot water heater hooks up right here. This is just a temporary fix because we just got a new one. Because our last one exploded. But I'll tell you that story later. We have hoses that hook up here, and we have gas that hooks up here, and it's a propane no tank or tankless water heater that's meant for the outdoors, and that's what we got.
And ice.
And ice. So I remove it every night so that it doesn't freeze up, exhibit A, B, and C. And then if we keep the water flowing, then the water line doesn't freeze up either, so I could easily reinstall it the next morning, have hot water throughout the rest of the day, and once it dips below freezing again, I take my hot water heater out. This is to prevent jams, because there's very sensitive stuff in that hot water heater that if water froze in there and expanded, I don't want it breaking anything, because that will lead to more water heater explosions. So we're gonna go hook up the water heater. Cold water, hot water, ignition switch. Ding! And that's it. Hopefully this works. Hey Carter, count it down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go!
Whew. It ignited. So it looks like we're leaking. Oh, that's hot. That's hot. Okay. Usually if I just twist it, it'll stop leaking. There we go. All right. So back in the house. Now I got to see if both the hot and the cold water are working. So let's find out. We've got full running water on cold, full running water on hot, and it's actually warm. So that's it. Just like that. We've got running water. I didn't have to go dig around in the, whatever I call it, gray water tank. Bye. Let's just say it's really gross down there. There's like barbecue grease, because that's where we stored our barbecue for a while. There's all sorts of
And ice.
ice.
Ah.
I'm good, thanks.